It's time now for our Entre Nous segment. Today we are taking a deep dive into the difficulty of being a mayor here in France. For more on that, I'm joined on the set by our Solange Mougin. Solange, France has a lot of mayors, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's an easy job.
Yeah, it really is not an easy job. And actually, it is a profession that may be in the midst of a reckoning of sorts right here in France. Over the past term, prior to these 2026 municipal elections, there was a record number of mayors who quit while they were still in office. Twice as many threw in the towel or the sash, you could say, as in the previous mandate. And 4 times as many quit compared to the mandate prior to that. But before we get into why there was essentially a big quit among French mayors and how that may or may not have a wider significance in regard to French democracy, I thought we would take a deep dive into what the job really is and what it means here in France. So let's start with the fun stuff, the pomp. France has nearly 5,000 mayors. And you can tell that they are the mayor because they wear a blue, white, and red sash. And it is draped across their body from the right shoulder down. And it is generally worn on only important occasions, say weddings, commemorations, protests. But there are rules about how to wear it. As the French government website tells us, mayors or their adjuncts, they wear their sashes with the blue closest to the neck. The adjuncts have a silver tassel, as the mayor has a gold one. And this order of blue, white, red distinguishes them from members of parliament who wear it in the opposite way. There's also a linguistic etiquette as well. You always have to address the mayor with their title, as in Monsieur le Maire or Madame la Maire. This is rare in France. It's done only really for elected officials in the judiciary. Now, a mayor is actually elected twice. At the ballot box, voters are actually picking a list of council members who then later vote on who among them should be mayor. It's generally pretty clear who it will be. As for the rule, it is a largely administrative one and a budgetary one. They are the representatives of the state. They oversee a commune's, municipality's budget, its elections, its local police. They enact decisions made by the municipal council, things that have to do with schools, with streets, building development, sanitation permits. They are the cornerstone of France's democracy at its most local level.
The mayor, they manage the municipality.
They protect citizens and give them a future.
Politics are often inaccessible, and for me, the mayor should be that accessible, welcoming part, the one that listens. Let's say it's the human part.
The mayor's the captain, and he gives a forward momentum. When there's a captain directing the vessel, it's really important to have progress.
Now, mayors are paid for their work, but it is not a salary. Rather, it is called an indemnité, or an allowance, which is set depending upon the population and things like how touristy a place is. There are also caps on these allowances, but it is important to note that since around 24,000 of the nearly 35,000 communes or municipalities have less than 1,000 people, these allowances are not very high for most mayors. Many in small towns actually hold down their original jobs. Others, around a third, are actually retired. And for the most part, France's mayors are old. The average age is 60. And most are men as well, with nearly 79% being men and 21% being women. There are gender parity efforts underway, but it is slow going.
Okay, so that's the 101, as we say, of the job. And now for this crisis among mayors, I mean, you do have figures on this. How bad is the problem when so many say they're exhausted and so many have quit?
Well, as a rule, there is generally an increase in the middle of the 6-year term when most mayors quit, or not most, some mayors quit. It is a long-term 6 years, which has the advantage of being able, allowing them to enact change, but burnout is an issue. With over 2,000 mayors having quit, alarm bells began ringing. Parliamentarians took some measures, and academics began to focus on this. Sciences Po did a study that found that 83% of mayors said the job was usant, or wearing them out in regard to their health. And 45% said that they thought often or occasionally about quitting. And it also found that in smaller towns, the smaller the town, the higher the likelihood of considering quitting. Now, our France in Focus team went to meet some of these mayors to find out why they quit. And for some, it was due to physical and verbal violence. For others, it was no longer being able to find the proper work-life work-life balance, because when you're mayor, well, you're often on call all the time.
She was always on her phone. When we talked to her, she would give us vague answers or not answer at all.
I remember one time, and this was a big turning point in terms of my decision to resign. I was with the girls, so the three of us were at home, and there was a problem. I can't remember what it was, maybe a little bump or something. I was right there, and they called their dad. And that's when I realized that I was no longer part of their lives, and as a mother, that's quite a harsh realization.
Solange, mayors have been increasingly vocal about the trials of their jobs. Is this a sign of a looming crisis, or is there hope?
Well, mayors say the previous term was particularly difficult between juggling COVID restrictions, budget cuts, the Ukraine energy crisis, last-minute unexpected elections. And Sciences Po, their study found that, for the most part, the main reason that mayors quit was due to tensions within the municipal council. So the issues are often due to local conflicts on governing. So it may not have been only due to other factors. But there are also other issues at play, more administrative tasks, disgruntlement among constituents, not being acknowledged enough, they say, by regional and national bodies. So the struggle for mayors is real. And on the democracy front, voter apathy and lower voter turnout is still a major concern. But the bright side is that these latest elections, for them, over 900,000 people were candidates on these municipal election council lists for city council. So there is still a desire to make positive change in local communities, even if the job is a pretty tough one.
Solange, thank you so much. It's fascinating stuff. They're all about French mayors. Don't forget, if you want a closer look at this segment or check out any of our other Entre News, you can do it on the website. The address is france24.com.